Hey, want to skip those ads and get early access and bonus episodes of all Banana for Scale shows? Hop on over to truestory.fm/join and discover all the cool perks that come with being a member of the Banana for Scale family. Coming up on The Devil's Details, Mr. Satan is My Uncle. The Chronicle of Young Satan, Chapter 2. Good morning, Star, and welcome to another episode of The Devil's Details, a show where we dig up, decipher, dissect, and deconstruct the many forms of the devil. One of my names is Lester Ryan Clark.
Oh, it's going to get me every time this season. And I sometimes go by Keenan Diaz.
There we go. All right. And we're just two lost souls hitchhiking down the highway to hell. And folks, we are in Chapter 2 of The Chronicle of Young Satan, the unpublished work of Mark Twain. This is the basis for that really creepy, spooky claymation clip called The Mysterious Stranger that you can find on YouTube. If you haven't checked that out, go check that out and then come back and listen to us talk about this chapter right here, because this is where it comes from. So if you haven't yet also listened to us talk about Chapter 1, we have been introduced to the fictional medieval Austrian village of Azeldorf, also known as Donkey Town or Assville, not Booty Town.
Not Booty
it's
Town,
a different kind of ass. It's Azel is like literally the donkey, right? We met some characters. We met our two priests. We got Father Adolf, right? Who's a very boisterous and crass bullying priest who apparently met the devil at one point, and Father Peter, who is a terrible, terrible priest because he said that God loves everybody.
Yes, and our narrator seems to like him and take pity in him and says that everyone in town does, but we haven't met our narrator yet.
Yeah, our narrator. Oh, yeah. Our narrator, yeah, I guess this is the chapter where we meet him, right? So right. Here's where we get introduced to our boys. These are the three main characters. But actually, Keenan, I forgot to mention in our last chapter. So, folks, we are comparing Twain's original work, The Chronicle of Young Satan, with the fraudulent version, which was cobbled together by Payne and D'Amica, and passed off as Twain's original work. But not only was it like stitched together in this Frankenstein-y way, with like the ending of another story tacked onto it, but apparently he cut a lot of stuff and then added what seems to be an entirely new character. We haven't come across him in this version because I don't know if he actually exists. Maybe he'll show up later, but you haven't in your readings come across the astrologer, have you, Keenan?
No, I haven't yet.
Okay, if you look at versions like paperback or hardback versions of, quote, The Mysterious Stranger, you see this like old Merlin-esque wizard like sitting on a stoop. That is the astrologer, and apparently he it's like such a redundant character because he's like they say, oh, Father Peter had an enemy, and it was the astrologer who framed him and said that, and went to the bishop and said that that Father Peter said God loved everybody. It's like, why not just have it be Father Adolf?
Why would he listen to an astrologer?
That's my other problem with this. Like astrologer, okay, right. As in like magic man, like wizard, right. Like Merlin.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So
get you back to a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's court.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. So I don't know if the astrologer was completely made up by these by these two shadow author people, by Payne and D'Amica. Or if maybe he shows up later in Twain's version and they were like pulling him from that part of it. Okay. But yeah, it seems redundant is right. The only word I can think of, even though I already said that word.
It's redundant.
Yes. Because he already has a rival in Father Adolf.
Right. That would
Just
be
Father Peter. Yeah. So
redundant.
Exactly. Right. It'd be like doing the same thing. It'd be like, I don't know, feeding a fed horse. Yeah. But yeah, we don't got the astrologer yet, or maybe ever in this version. Right?
No, we have Father Adolf.
Yeah, who is the other priest, rival of Father Peter, who is also a priest. Okay, but yeah, let's talk about this narrator, right? So this is chapter 2, where we are introduced to our boys. These are the three main characters. We got Nikolaus Bauman, right, son of a local judge, Seppi Vohmeier, son of the local innkeeper, and our narrator, I've heard this pronounced Theodore. not Theodore. But I don't know, like call him whatever you want, folks.
Let's call him Theodore.
Yeah, it's unpublished. Come on.
This is America.
Yeah. So if this is America, 18th century Austria. Yeah. But yeah.
Seppi is a nickname for Joseph for some reason.
Oh, like Joseph. Oh, okay. I work with a Seppi, and it's short for Sebastian.
Right.
So Seppi. Oh yeah, like Josephus, Joseph. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Oh wait. Hold up.
What?
It's short for Joseph, but it is kind of really short for Giuseppe, which is Italian Joseph.
So okay, there
Giuseppe,
we go.
Seppi.
Okay, Seppi, right? Interesting. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. And then our main narrator, Theodore Fisher, right?
Right.
Son of the church organist, right? I don't know, like Twain mentions that, like he's the son of this and he's the son of that, but like that never comes back. They're just three town boys. Right?
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and honestly,
Simon, Alvin, Theodore.
Simon, Alvin, Theodore. Right. And honestly, Keenan, they kind of feel indistinguishable from each other, right? And it's like, and the other two boys don't really like emerge as characters, at least in the Payne Danica version, and at least in this chapter, right? Maybe in later chapters we'll get more of them, but I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, I've only read up to here, so they're pretty much the same, and they kind of act as a group and work as a group. They don't have any disagreements about like, hey, should we trust this guy or not? They kind of make decisions as one brain.
Yeah. But yeah, the chapter starts out introducing them, talking about how they had the run of the whole town, and they were always exploring and swimming and boating and fishing. Basically doing Tom and Huck stuff, Twain. Like just have it be in Hannibal, Missouri, right? But that's something we're going to see again and again in this story. Is even though it is set in 18th century Austria, Twain can't not write it like hometown Hannibal, Missouri. Right?
So we're about to get to some backstory that is Austrian, but they don't have some of these jobs in Hannibal, Missouri. But basically the idea is very similar.
Yeah. And we get this brief anecdote about a guy named Felix Brandt. This is the oldest serving man in the castle.
They don't got castles out in Hannibal, Missouri.
You would have to change that, I guess. Right?
No, but he could very easily be the oldest ship hand on the dock. Or
exactly.
Something.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But like, I'm a little confused. And I've read both of these versions. They, I believe, are living in a castle / town, like a castle town.
Right.
Like you would call. Is that what you would call a keep?
The keep is inside of the castle.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be uncommon, probably by the 1700s, where the towns had outgrown what you could actually fit within a castle. And there were townspeople outside in little towns that we would recognize, but a castle would be taking care of like the little area.
Right. And the lord of the castle, this like local prince, like he actually only like shows up like every now and then, and so he doesn't actually even feature in this story. But I guess Twain just needed like a castle / town setting.
I don't know how it would be in Austria, but kind of the idea in like Western Europe and in England is that like at the county level you would have a count, and there might be a castle there, and then above him would be a duke at the duchy level, and you'd have a bigger castle. There's a series of castles everywhere. Yeah,
right. A duchy, not a dookie.
He did it all for the dookie.
Yep. In Azeldorf, there's a dookie. Come on. But and we get this brief anecdote about a guy named Felix Brandt. He's the oldest serving man in the castle. He's sort of like taken the boys under his wing. He dotes on them and he tells them stories and he teaches them how to smoke. Again, very Tom Sawyer right there, like underage kids like smoking and drinking,
Right.
And also how to drink coffee, which he says he picked up when he was at the siege of Vienna. And it's this weird exotic drink that he brought back. And he says that the Turkish prisoners taught him how to make it. And quote, now he always kept coffee by him to drink himself and also to astonish the ignorant with. I like that.
I like the idea of being introduced to coffee. Like that is so foreign to us. Like I can't imagine that. I've never
like life without coffee. Like
to the point where someone would introduce you to it.
Right.
I don't know. It depends on. Oh, I guess there were a couple sieges of Vienna. Sorry, I knew about an earlier siege of Vienna. Okay, it is. I thought maybe it was like the joke that he couldn't have been in the one in the 1500s. But no, okay.
Okay.
So there was a relatively recent one. Okay, never mind. But yeah, I thought that was kind of the joke of like he's making this all up to the children. Like he was at the siege of Vienna.
Oh, okay. But we got so many. It's like the one, the siege of Vienna.
Yeah. Yeah, the famous one that I know is in the 1520s, and that was like so shocking that the Ottomans, the Muslims, could get that far into Europe, and they didn't take over Vienna, but it was like, oh wow, like even though they repulsed them, it was like, whoa, civilization could be crumbling because you know the Ottomans got so far in.
Right. Yeah, one siege, another, tomato. You know.
That's right. So apparently there was one in 1683. I'm seeing, so that is possible that the oldest man in town, the oldest soldier in town, I guess, could have been in this one.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, we get a little foreshadowing here because this guy also tells them spooky stories and, quote, while it thundered and lightened outside, he told about ghosts and horrors of every kind and of battles and murders and mutilations and such things and made it pleasant and cozy inside. I like that. Right. And he told these things from his own experience largely. He had seen many ghosts in his time and witches and enchanters, and once he was lost in a fierce storm at midnight in the mountains, and by the glare of the lightning he had seen the wild huntsman range by on the blast with his spectre dogs chasing after him through the driving cloud rack. Also he had seen an incubus once, and several times he had seen the great bat that sucks the blood from the necks of people while they are asleep, fanning them softly with its wings, and so keeping them drowsy till they die. I love peeking into what the legends were like long ago.
Right.
Because like the way we think of like the vampire bat or just the vampire or an incubus or the wild huntsman is not how Twain thought of them.
Right.
And also not how like, these 18th century Austrians would think of them, right? And how those like legends have evolved and everything,
This was a new one to me about the wild huntsman. So this is even dating back to like Norse mythology when that was in the German-speaking world. And so like the wild huntsman is, I think, like part of Odin's like court. Like he's like amongst that pantheon.
Like in some versions, I think that's where it originated. Just like the idea of like Krampus might have been like one of Loki's grandchildren or something like that. I think the wild hunt or the wild huntsman evolved out of that and became its like own thing.
Its own thing. Okay, great. Yeah.
And so now it's like like foretelling death, and it's just like specters riding across the sky and all that.
Yeah. So it just feels like the way you would go out hunting for a fox or something, like fox hunting, but it's like nature just eating itself, and you if you observe it, you don't want to get in its path, but there's nothing you can really do about it. It's like these things chasing each other, and you can't even see what they're chasing and what they want or what's going to stop it.
Yeah, and I've seen like the most recent iteration of it is like it's literally like the Grim Reaper, and a bunch of other Grim Reapers like out on a hunt for you,
Could be you, right?
Yeah. So the Wild Huntsman, folks, look that up. That's a cool little legend.
That's super cool. Should we say what an incubus is in case that's new to some people?
Yeah. Oh, geez, I always forget which way. Like stalactite, stalagmite. Okay, succubus is the female demon, is the lady demon that that gives you the wet dream, and the incubus is the guy, that visits women. Yeah.
So kind of like seducing you in your sleep, and like not a good way.
Right. Yeah. This is like, because back then, like you wake up and there's a wet spot on your blanket. It's like you were sinful. That was bad, right? And it's not normal. You're not a normal person who's having like normal bodily functions and thoughts. It's a demon has invaded you and made you think things and dream things and you came in your jammies.
Right. And now he has seen this. Yeah. Old Felix has actually seen an incubus.
Yeah. Hey, wait a minute, Felix.
Why didn't you see a succubus?
Why didn't you see a succubus? What?
And there's also the band Incubus that I know nothing about.
Oh.
The end.
There we go.
I just know that they're a band.
I guess we're going to have to talk about them at some point, like when we get into like devil music and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no idea what kind. I imagine they do kind of edgy music because the name Incubus, but I have no idea.
I imagine they look kind of like Kiss, but not quite. Knowing nothing about them.
Knowing nothing about them.
Yeah. On their drum, the word incubus is like really tall and jagged, and yeah. Somebody's tongue is sticking out at some point. I don't know.
Yeah.
Look how ignorant we are, folks.
There are probably people who are big fans of Incubus, so just know that we're just guessing. We have no idea anything about that.
Now watch, we get it all right. It's exactly like no. We're gonna feel so dumb when we do an actual episode on them. But no, I want to read a little bit more of this. So they're still talking about this guy Felix, right? Quote. He encouraged us not to fear supernatural things such as ghosts, and said they did no harm, but only wandered about because they were lonely and distressed, and wanted kindly notice and compassion. And in time we learned to not be afraid, and even went down with him in the night to the haunted chamber in the dungeons of the castle. The ghost appeared only once, and it went by very dim to the sight, and floating noiseless through the air, and then disappeared. and we scarcely trembled, he had taught us so well. He said it came up sometimes in the night, and woke him by passing its clammy hand over his face, but it did him no hurt. It only wanted sympathy and notice. But the strangest thing was that he had seen angels, actual angels out of heaven, and he had talked with them. They had no wings and wore clothes, and talked and looked and acted just like any natural person. And you would never know them for angels, except for the wonderful things they did, which a mortal could not do, and the way they suddenly disappeared while you were talking with them, which was also a thing which no mortal could do. And he said they were pleasant and cheerful, not gloomy and melancholy like ghosts. Mm-hmm. So this kind of stuff interests me because like stories and superstitions and lore about like ghosts and demons and stuff like that, like often they are a reflection of the author's own time period, like we were saying, right? Mm-hmm. Like a 20th century author writing about a 17th century vampire is actually just writing about a 20th century vampire, right? In the 17th century, right? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Right? Mm-hmm. While and with 20th century vampire rules and lore and a 20th century like understanding of vampires, right? You can't get away from it. So here,
even if you are trying your best, like you are a 20th century person writing about the past and you are influencing how you're presenting it. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like the soldiers in World War I didn't call it World War I. Right.
They called it Hell's Bells and Mademoiselles.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, but what I'm saying is so here, Twain has set this story in the 18th century, mm-hmm. in this castle town in Austria. And not only are we going to see, like I said, right, like all the characters acting like they're from, Hannibal, Missouri, mm-hmm. but also the tales of ghosts and bogies and boogeymen and all that must be colored by this as well, right? I don't know how researched Twain was, but mm-hmm. that also kind of doesn't matter because, like, as we see with modern authors, you can't get away from the conversations and attitudes of our own time, mm-hmm. right? Yeah. So these ghosts and haunts and haints and mm-hmm. bogies and stuff like that are, Twain-style ghosts and haunts and haints and bogies,
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love this section because of the way that Twain captures childhood so well.
Mm.
And
he talks about he told these spooky, scary stories and made it cozy and pleasant, right?
Yeah, and how like grown up these children feel by hanging out with this guy and like
mm-hmm.
hearing about war and
drinking coffee.
Yeah, like that just feels so right. Even though he's writing in the late 1800s, it just feels
mm-hmm.
like what it is to be around an older guy or the equivalent of your brother's best friend's roommate or something who's a fucking idiot, but he's
mm-hmm.
sort of,
but to you, he's like so cool. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Let me tell you what things were like in the old days. Yeah. Let me tell you how to attract a woman, right?
Right. Giving them all the wrong advice and everything. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so, in the next scene, the boys are hanging out, right? They'd met mm-hmm. Felix that morning, and he had made them breakfast and sent them on their way. Mm-hmm. And now they're out here in this little hilltop in the woods at the edge of town.
Mm-hmm.
It's like their favorite spot, right?
Right.
And they're reflecting on all the spooky stuff that Felix had told them. And Theodore is lamenting that they had forgotten their flint and steel, so they can't make fire to light their pipes, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to sit and reflect on all the spooky stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then, lo and behold, this new boy comes out of the woods and sits and starts talking with them. And at first, they're wary because he's a stranger, a mysterious stranger. No, I mean.
But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's who this is, right?
They're not afraid of strangers exactly. They are awkward around strangers.
Right.
So it's not stranger danger. They feel themselves not being cool enough to say anything to him.
Right. Yeah. And also kind of like wary and suspicious in that kind of small southern town way. It's like, we don't take kindly to, type thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But this boy just sits with them and starts talking with them. Mm-hmm. And Twain goes on to say how handsome and pleasant and charming this new boy is,
mm-hmm.
and how our boys immediately feel at ease in his presence.
Mm-hmm.
And Theodore wants to offer him a smoke, but he remembers they can't, make fire. And this new kid, as if reading his mind, says, "Fire? Oh, that is easy. I will furnish it."
Mm-hmm.
And he takes the pipe and blows on it, and the tobacco is magically lit. And this spooks the boys, and they all get up and they start running away. But he calls after them, and again in this pleasant voice, and says he means them no harm. He only wants to be friends. And because they're so mesmerized by this new kid, they come back and they sit down, and he goes on talking, and he's so charming and disarming that the boys soon become, quote, chatty, as Twain puts it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So right off the bat, Twain is setting this new character up as A, supernatural, obviously, and B, impossibly charismatic and magnetic to a point that also seems supernatural.
Right.
Right? This is another devil trope that I don't see very often, but when I do, I really like it. And I don't think I've ever seen it done to a degree that Twain does it here. We're going to see in later chapters that the boys almost act like they're addicted to being with him, like he's a drug. But before we go on, I want to get your feeling on this. Do we think this is intentional by this new stranger? Is this like nefarious? Is he hypnotizing them on purpose? Or is this maybe something that this new kid cannot help, like just being what he is? And we're going to talk about that.
I don't know if we know in this chapter, and that's all I've read. Yeah, I'm suspicious of him because he is the devil, but or a devil, I guess.
A devil, yeah, right.
Yes,
Mr. Satan is my uncle. Yeah, yeah.
Right. I'm suspicious of that, but yeah, it could just be that he's just wants to make friends with him, I suppose, and he's not doing anything untoward yet. He's just helping him out, I guess. So I don't know. But we don't get the idea that because we have a narrator who is narrating past events, he doesn't say anything about him being hypnotized.
Right.
He doesn't say anything about, like, I don't know why I was drawn to this person. He says, I know exactly why I was drawn to this person. He was just super badass. He was cool.
Yeah, just like cool and handsome and amiable and affable. And
nice,
and all the other A words, right.
So, you call him a boy. They call him a youth, but I think that's right. Like, he might be just like a few years older than them or something, right? Yeah. So that's interesting to think of the devil in that age range of like 14 or something like that.
Right.
These kids are like 11 or 12 or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we see a lot of that. We see either, the devil as a grown person, the devil as an old, an old twisted man, or the devil as like an angelic looking child.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But not as like a youth, like looking just like them. Yeah.
Right. A teenager.
Right. Right. Yeah.
We don't need to imagine teenagers as the devil because they already are.
Am I right? High five. What's the deal with today's youth? Yeah. Just getting all the parents to give us 5 stars. Moms and dads, you know.
Their phones, etc.
Yeah. And their lingo that we don't understand. Their haircuts.
That we buy for them.
But so just like in our claymation clip, they ask him where he learned to do this magical thing. And the boy says he didn't learn it at all. It comes natural to him like other curious things, right? So, same quote from the film. And they ask him to do more stuff. He takes a leaf with some water in it and he blows on that and the water turns to ice. And then, just like in the film, he asks them what kind of fruit they each like. And they all speak at once. Quote, orange, apple, grapes. And the boy says, they are in your pockets, he said. And it was true. And they were of the best, too. And we ate them and wished we had more, though none of us said so. Oh, you will find them where those came from, he said, and everything else your appetites call for. And you need not name the thing you wish. As long as I am with you, you have only to wish and find. And he said true. There was never anything so wonderful and so interesting. Bread, cakes, sweets, nuts, whatever one wanted, it was there. He ate nothing himself, but sat and chatted, and did one curious thing after another to amuse us. So it's expanded here, right? They have never-ending pockets of whatever food they want. I love this.
This is hard to animate claymation.
Right, yeah.
More and more cake. More cakes? Come on, our hands are tired.
But this is like,
one fruit each, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right? But this is like, the ultimate fantasy for kids. Right. They say, just like, I could eat anything I want, right? And I'm out exploring with my friends and we just reach into my pocket and there's a cake or something, you know? Yeah. Also, I think I said this before in our All That Money Can Buy episode, in the previous season. I really like the subtle, non-showy magic, right? He's just like, they're in your pockets, right? There's no flourish. We don't see any forces at work. It just is, right? Just like, in All That Money Can Buy, it's like, just lift up this hay and there's all that Hessian gold, right? Yeah. And actually, now that I think about it, I have only seen that kind of like subtle magic in association with angels and demons, Like even with a genie, it's like poof, and it's like you gotta do like a whole bunch of razzmatazz, right?
Big song and dance.
Yeah, right. But here, it's like the food was always in their pockets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that a lot, and it's unforced, which is the kind of thing that you would like as a kid, not someone who's trying to impress you all the time.
Right. And so, he starts making clay animals. He makes a tiny clay squirrel and a tiny clay dog that, chases the squirrel up the tree. And if you saw the film, you know where this is going. But first, the kids pluck up the courage to ask who this new kid is. And he says, quite simply, quote, an angel. and they're afraid again. And I love this. He says they need not be afraid. Very biblical, right? Do not be afraid. And this is when he starts making the little clay people, and he's as he's talking to them, they ask if they can help, and they all start working on this little castle town. Eventually, they grow bold enough to ask this angel's name, and he says just as casually, quote, Satan. And he held out a chip and caught a little woman on it who was falling from the scaffolding and put her back where she belonged and said, she is an idiot to step backward like that and not notice what she is about. It caught us suddenly, that name did, and our work dropped out of our hands and broke to pieces, a cannon, a halberdier, and a horse. Satan laughed and asked what was the matter. It was a natural laugh and pleasant and sociable, not boisterous, and had a reassuring influence upon us. So I said there was nothing much the matter, only it seemed a strange name for an angel. He asked why. Because it's his name, you know? Yes, he is my uncle. He said it placidly, but it took our breath for a moment and made our hearts beat hard. He did not seem to notice that, but partly mended our halberdiers and things with a touch, handed them to us to finish, and said, don't you remember? He was an angel himself once. Yes, it's true, said Seppi. I didn't think of that. Before the fall, he was blameless. Yes, said Nikolaus, he was without sin. It is a good family, ours, said Satan. There is not a better. He is the only member of it that has ever sinned. I should not be able to make anyone understand how exciting it all was. You know that kind of quiver that trembles around through you when you are seeing something that is so strange and enchanting and wonderful that is just a fearful joy to be alive and look at. And you know how you gaze and your lips turn dry and your breath comes short, but you wouldn't be anywhere but there, not for the world. I was bursting to ask one question. I had it on my tongue's end, and I could hardly hold it back, but I was ashamed to ask it. It might be a rudeness. Satan set an ox down that he had been making and smiled up at me and said, it wouldn't be a rudeness, and I should forgive it if it was. Have I seen him? Millions of times. From the time that I was a little child, 1,000 years old, I was his second best favorite among the nursery angels of our blood and lineage, to use a human phrase. Yes, from that time till the fall, 8,000 years measured as you count time. Okay, so what do we think about this? Personally, I think it is fascinating. I know on this show I sort of, got a reputation about being like really picky with devil lore, but for some reason I really like this. It reminds me of Mephistopheles in the Goethe version of Faust, right? Saying that the snake in the Garden of Eden was his aunt, right? He says, like my old aunt, the celebrated snake, right? I like the idea of a devil dynasty. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm not as picky as all that. The devil can do just about anything Jesus can do, just a little bit less, I suppose, right? So yeah, he could have a whole lineage of people. I like the nephew of things. It sort of lets you get away some of your pickiness about, canon. So like, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, right? They're the nephews of Donald Duck. They can do whatever they want in DuckTales, etc. Right? So The Magician's Nephew is a book. And that's all I know about that. Like Incubus and The Magician's Nephew from J.R. Tolkien. No, from... I caught myself, though, from C.S. Lewis.
Yes. We're going to read
and
a book is also,
The Magician's Nephew. They're off in the corner doing something.
Yeah. Speaking of C.S. Lewis, right? Like we're going to read the Screwtape Letters, where it's a communication. Well, I guess it's a one-sided communication between Uncle Screwtape and his nephew Wormwood, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, nephews. Wait a minute. Yeah, wait. Nephews. Huey, Dewey, and Louie are Donald's nephews and Scrooge's nephews.
In the Hawaiian system, yes. Anybody older than you is your uncle. And anyone older than your aunt. Because Donald is Scrooge's nephew.
Yes. Oh, wow. So like he's the great uncle of Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
I suppose not the... Well, I don't know. He is their what would it be? Their second cousin twice removed.
Oh, geez. Okay. Well, let's get out of... Folks, there actually is a McDuck family tree. Like, if you care to Google it. I wasted a whole afternoon. I was so fascinated by it. But no, that's the stuff I like. It's oh, did you hear that, that Mark Twain wrote a book about Satan? Oh, no, I didn't. It was just his nephew. And there you go.
Nephews, yeah. Back then, people had trouble with nephews. Dickens had trouble with nephews.
Oh,
yeah. But I don't know. So who is... This young Satan is the devil's nephew.
Yeah.
So the devil's sister's child, I suppose.
I guess. I don't imagine Twain was thinking that deep into it. I mean, you would call him like Lucifer's nephew. You wouldn't say Satan, but
why? Lucifer,
actually,
like the fallen angel?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're mixing up Lucifer and Satan and the devil here, but yeah.
Right.
But he says Satan's nephew.
Yeah, but Satan would be like his new name.
Right.
Yeah. So why would an innocent angel be called Satan? But like, I don't care. Like, I like it.
And he's 8,000 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So he's from, what would that be? Negative 1,700 minus. So he's like 63,000 BC.
Oh, well, I didn't do any of this math.
6,300 BC. Yeah.
Because he goes on to say, like, he's seen all this stuff. Like, he was there for the birth of Adam and everything.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's quite old.
Yeah. So and he goes on answering questions that they have in their minds before they ask them, right? He says, no, the fall did not affect me, nor the rest of the relationship. It was only he that I was named for who ate of the fruit of the tree and then beguiled the man and the woman with it. Mm-hmm. That's new to me, that Satan also ate the fruit.
Yeah. We haven't encountered that. So I don't know if Twain invented that or if we're missing a missing link in the middle of, between this and Milton.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time, so.
Right, yeah. But he goes on to say, he says, we others are still ignorant of sin. We are not able to commit it. We are without blemish and shall abide in that estate always. And then 2 of the little workmen were quarreling and in buzzing little bumblebee voices, they were cursing and swearing at each other. Now came blows and blood. Then they locked themselves together in a life and death struggle. Satan reached out his hand and crushed the life out of them with his fingers, threw them away, wiped the red from his fingers on his handkerchief, and went on talking where he had left off. We cannot do wrong, neither have we any disposition to it, for we do not know what it is. And so there we go, right? We saw this in the film as well. But here it's set up a little differently. It's set up against this speech that he's giving, right? Talking about how he and the other angels are without sin and don't even know what it is as he murders these little clay people, right? Twain touches on this again in Letters from the Earth. This is the next book I think we're going to read. And it seems to be a fixation of his, the committing of sins by someone or something that is, quote, without sin. If I remember correctly, in that book, he has a different Satan, different character, asking God about carnivores in the Garden of Eden. And he's like, so they murder other animals, but they're still without sin? And God's like, yes, the tiger can do no wrong. That is simply his nature. Right? So I think Twain is fascinated by this idea that like, it's like, oh, angels and like even animals can like sin, but it's not really a sin, right? And maybe this is where, he got this notion with this proto version of that, to have this angel unaffected by the fall, as he says, still committing what we would see as sins. What do you think?
Yeah, because he says that, like, the reason I look like a boy despite being, all these 16,000 years old, etc., the reason for that is that I just am a boy. That's what it is. I'm not, like, putting on an act. I'm not making myself look like a boy. I am this innocent person, essentially. Yeah. And I don't know, it raises some questions that are really creepy in the Adventures of Mark Twain movie of, like, well, he gave these things life, so for him to take the life out of them, like, is that really murder? Like they would not exist without. They that's the relationship between God and man as well.
Right. When God smites somebody, is that a sin? Is God committing a sin?
Right. He has giveth and taken away. And like in the Bible, we're told to, appreciate the mysterious nature of God and to not get angry for God for doing these things, right? He's the only reason that you've given, and you have, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. So like, is what this Satan is doing any worse than that? Like, why is it different than that? Except that our children in both the movie and our chapter here, like, have to witness it.
And then also even like removed from that, like talking about like beasts of the field and everything like that, is the idea of like, well, yeah, like the animal kingdom is full of like maiming and murder and pillaging and and all that stuff, but not considered sinful because it's like in their nature, right?
Yeah, but it also gets to the idea, like, that we talked about before, the translation of the commandments. Is it thou shalt not kill or thou shalt not murder?
Right.
And yeah, because animals kill all the time, and it's not murder because they don't know what they're doing, and they most animals don't kill for fun. They kill for food or to protect their territory, and this Satan, though, doesn't seem to be killing for fun either. Right. He just seems to be killing.
He just sees no consequences in it at all, like no value in.
And he's created them in that sequence that you're talking about. He starts off in their little toys. He's making little toys for them, and then he makes these little squirrels and these dogs, and then the people are about the size of a finger, and like for him these are just toys. So like, is this really that murderous to him to just put away his toys, essentially? Right.
Yeah because they're making too much noise and they're bothering him. Right. Yeah. Keenan, you were talking about animals, right? And how they don't, they might kill, but they don't murder. You know what else, Keenan? You don't see them screwing each other over for a percentage.
What's that from?
That's from Aliens. She's talking to Burke, right? She's like,
Burke,
it's like, I don't know what species is more repulsive. You don't see them screwing each other over for a percentage.
That's right. The aliens do not murder.
No. The aliens are without sin. Yeah, or the xenomorphs, I guess. Yeah.
The xenomorphs, yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Mostly. Yeah. Oh, geez. No, I want to watch that movie. Jeez. Anyway.
There's no devil in it. We don't get to cover it on the show because there's no devils.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, naturally the boys are horrified at what he has done, but Satan has already forgotten about it. And then he continues chatting as if it never happened, telling him of his travels, the vastness of space, etc. Meanwhile, the tiny villagers are now like weeping and wailing. They've like made this like funeral procession, just like, again, in the movie. So Satan takes a board from like their swing and smashes all of them and then goes on talking. And the boys are like even more shocked. They can't believe that an angel would do something so cold-blooded. The narrator actually remarks that none of these poor souls had been, quote, prepared except for the priest, for they had never heard a mass or seen a church. Interesting little peek into, I assume this is how people, thought during Twain's time, right? That if you were unbaptized or you had never heard like the good word, then, straight to hell if you die, right? If you die before, receiving communion or whatever, right? I don't think Twain necessarily believes that. I think he's being, sarcastic here. But he has these kids thinking about that. And yes, they would certainly think that in the 18th century in Austria.
Absolutely. But
I bet he's also commenting more on like the modern interpretation of what, he might view as like a silly superstition,
Yep. I like that, how we can go into the minds of their narrator. That's why it needs to be a first person narrator. And but this is such a crazy scene of like they are terrified of a couple of them being killed in front of them, and then he just escalates it without even realizing he's escalating it. He's like, let's put the rest of these away. Let's return them in the film. It's like return them to the clay, literally, and just put them back into the surface of this little protoplanet that we have here.
Right, yeah, and yeah, this is where the boys are like, we gotta tell the police because this guy's a murderer, but they literally can't. They physically can't get up and leave. They are so captivated by Satan's talking. It says, quote, "But he went on talking right along and worked his enchantments upon us again with that fatal music of his voice. He made us forget everything. We could only listen to him and love him and be his slaves to do with as he would. He made us drunk with the joy of being with him and of looking into the heaven of his eyes and of feeling the ecstasy that thrilled along our veins from the touch of his hand." That is such a scary but like also like interesting way to talk about like the intoxication of, the devil.
Because you don't read that as them being mesmerized either, right? This isn't a magical spell. This is just like, we're just so I guess all the metaphors still sound magical. We're captured by him. We're enraptured by him. Yeah, they just think he's so cool that they don't want to, be rude by saying, hey, we have to go. We can't talk about this anymore.
And that's what I love about it. It's like, it's weirdly, it's more scary than Dracula hypnotizing you, you know? Because it's like, he's just that charismatic and magnetic that you can't like not be intoxicated by him, right? He's not even trying. It just happens, right? And he goes, and Satan goes on to talk about all that he has seen. He was there when Adam and Eve were created. He saw Samson struggle against the pillars that he was chained to. He saw Caesar's death. He describes heaven and hell for them in a way that like where it feels like they're actually there. And once again, right, the kids are horrified to see / hear about like all the people suffering in hell, but Satan, barely notices. And you get the feeling that like when this Satan talks about hell, it's like, it's not like, oh yeah, where I live, right? Like it's just hell is like a place that's like distant even from him, right?
Right. Yeah, he talks about it like the planets you see
in
space.
Right. And yeah, they feel actually embarrassed because like he basically recounts like all these great men and women of history in this like detached, almost like disdainful way as if they're bugs, right? Yeah, and Twain says, right, like, and always when he was talking about men and women here in the earth and their doings, even their grandest and sublimest, we were secretly ashamed, for his manner showed that, to him, they and their doings were of paltry poor consequence. Often you would think he was talking about flies, if you didn't know. Once he even said, in so many words, that our people down here were quite interesting to him, notwithstanding they were so dull and ignorant and trivial and conceited, and so diseased and rickety, and such a shabby, poor, worthless lot all around. He said it in quite a matter-of-course way, and without any bitterness, just as a person might talk about bricks or manure or any other thing that was of no consequence and hadn't feelings. I could see he meant no offense, but in my thoughts I set it down as not very good manners. I like that. Mm-hmm. And then Satan it reads his mind. He says, manners? Why, it is merely the truth, and the truth is good manners, and manners are a fiction. Mm-hmm. So the closest I think we can get to it is like, it almost seems sociopathic, right? And that's what's scary about it. But yeah, so then, you know, the castle's all done, and Satan brings the little men and you know, that the boys had made to life, but they're all like misshapen and disproportionate because like the kids don't, you know, they're not good at making, you know, tiny anatomically correct people. Mm-hmm. And even Satan, he's like, oh, those are the worst I've ever seen, right? But then just like in the film, he's like, okay, you know, let's have a storm and an earthquake, right? Mm-hmm. And okay, this is another passage that says, a small storm cloud began to settle down black over the castle, and the miniature lightning and thunder began to play, and the ground to quiver, and the wind to pipe and wheeze, and the rain to fall. And all the people flocked into the castle for shelter. The cloud settled down blacker and blacker, and one could see the castle only dimly through it. The lightnings blazed out flash upon flash, and they pierced the castle and set it on fire, and the flames shone out red and fierce through the cloud, and the people came flying out, shrieking, but Satan brushed them back, paying no attention to their begging and crying and imploring, and in the midst of the howling of the wind and the volleying of the thunder, the magazine blew up, the earthquake rent the ground wide, and the castle's wreck and ruin tumbled into the chasm, which swallowed it from sight and closed upon it, with all that innocent life. Not one of the 500 poor creatures escaping. Our hearts were broken. We could not keep from crying. Don't cry, Satan said. They are of no value. But they are gone to hell. Oh, it is no matter. We can make more. Mm-hmm. And yeah, try as they might, they cannot get him to feel anything for these, you know, these little people, or even like understand, right?
Mm-hmm. Understand why they care at all, why they're disturbed by this.
Yeah. This is such a fresh and chilling idea about the devil, right? The devil is usually like passionate, right? He hates humans, right? But here it's like he sees them as this like weird curiosity if he thinks about them at all, you know?
Yeah, he normally hates them because they've taken his birthright from him. That's what we've experienced a lot, right?
He's jealous
of them, right? And these are these mud people. He does talk about that metaphor a little bit in our chapter about people. I was there. I saw people being made from dirt, and that's not me. I'm not dirt. But here he's destroying these things. He's very dispassionate about them, and he's assuming that because I don't know why he's taken a liking to these boys, not having read ahead, but he doesn't really understand it from their point of view. It's just like, oh, you know, to him it's like, well, whether you have them or not, we can make more of them. Don't worry about them. The old ones are fine. They're the same as if we make new ones out of them.
That's what he thinks the trouble is. It's like, oh, no, we can just make more.
Don't worry about that. Yeah, I'm a source of plenty.
Yeah.
And I wonder, you know, writing this in the 1880s into the 1890s, and then depending on which version you're reading into the 1900s, like if this is, you know, a devil who is more inspired by Darwin and like the origin of species and like the cold nature of what we might consider evil, right? Of being eaten or extinction or, you know, being destroyed or being killed, right? Like it's not that nature is out to get you because it's being controlled by an evil man with a crystal ball. It's, you know, your grandmother got killed by a wolf or your grandfather got killed from a disease because that's just the way the world works.
Yeah. And yeah, so he keeps on talking, and he actually makes them forget about the people, right? He takes out a quote unquote strange instrument and begins to play this heavenly music, literally from heaven. He says, right, the song and the dance and the music and the instrument. And
you don't think it's just like the Men in Black stick? They come out. Just look here for a moment, sir.
Yeah,
thank you.
Well, now it's like I like that he doesn't specify what kind of instrument it is, right? He could have said a spinet, right? Because I need a little Christmas, we need a little Satan, right? Yeah. But and so he gets them to dance, and they literally begin to. The narrator says they literally begin to dance on the grave of that tiny village, right? They can't help themselves, right? But yeah, then Satan says he's got to leave. He's got to go run an errand, right? What errand? You always see in supernatural tales, right? The supernatural being is like, I got to go run an errand, right? Dracula does that, right? He leaves Harker at the castle. He goes off to run a quote errand, right?
What is Renfield for then?
Yeah, right.
you got an errand boy now.
Yeah, but we know what Dracula's doing. Right? But yeah, Satan says he also has to go. And the boy's like, no, please don't leave us. And he's like, oh, okay, I'll stay a little longer. Oh, by the way, Father Peter is coming, right? And he says that before Father Peter shows up. And then Father Peter does show up, and he like walks right through Satan and through them and doesn't even seem to like see them, right?
Right.
And when he's gone, the boys are like, oh, did you do that? And Satan's like, yeah, and then he tells them, hey, so nobody can know who I really am except you. So when you see me in town later, you got to address me as Philip Traum, right? That's my human name that I picked. And again, German-speaking listeners, you know that Traum is the German word for dream.
Right.
Interesting.
And he wants them. And they want him to say hello to Father Peter because they're like, oh, he might be able to understand your theology and your morality because
you're an angel and he's a father. Yeah.
So maybe we've messed up by not understanding why you can kill these things, right? And he might be able to. And young Satan is like, no.
He's like later.
Right.
Yeah. He's like, I will see him later. No, he doesn't say that. Right. But yeah, then he does them like he gives them a treat. He says, I'll disappear in a way that I haven't disappeared before, right? And he Twain likens it to like a soap bubble. He shrinks down and dissolves until you can see through him, and then he pops and he's gone. And then immediately the boys start to worry that the whole thing was a dream and isn't real.
A Traum.
A Traum,
Where
right?
he's in a Philip Traum.
Yeah, right. But then Father Peter shows up again. This I was like, oh, okay, this is unpublished. I got to remember. It's like,
It's redundant.
Yeah, it is.
Father Peter has showed up.
Right. He's the other priest. The other one being Father Adolf.
Right, but Father Peter has shown up.
Yes.
It's redundant.
He's the other priest. Not Father Adolf. Who's not named after that Adolf.
Right.
That comes later. In World War II.
What's that? World War II, you say?
Yes.
Hell's Bells and Mademoiselles, Part 2.
But yeah, so Father Peter shows back up, right? And he says he's lost his wallet, right? And I think we got to look into this because this is the second story. This is the second old-timey story where a wallet is not like a wallet we think of. It's like it seems like it's like a large like purse or something.
Oh, of course. I was imagining a billfold like you would have in men's pants. Yes.
Yeah. I think wallet meaning like a little fanny pack or something, right?
Right.
And he finds it. Father Peter finds his wallet right where Satan was standing before he disappeared. Only now it is filled with gold coins. And the boys try to say Satan did it, but their tongues literally cannot make the sentence, right? And so the only thing they can say is oh, because he's like, oh, who did this? And all they can say is not a human being, right?
Yeah, he's like, can you swear that someone wasn't here? And they're like, we didn't see a human being.
Yeah, right. And Satan had told him, it's like, I don't mind if you try to tell people, but you won't be able to, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and so Father Peter is like, at first he's like, hey, you've got to help me find my wallet because there was 4 ducats in there, I guess.
Yeah, 4 ducats.
4 ducats.
4 dookies, yeah.
Yes, I had 4 dookies in there, and it's not much, but I'm a poor priest, and I've lost everything, and we really need it. And then he opens it up, and there's like 1,000 ducats in there.
Right. Yeah. And it's this back and forth of like, oh, but it's not mine. I shouldn't keep it. We should find the owner. And the boys know that like, oh, there is no owner. This is like, Satan's gift. So it's like, oh no, take it. And he finally agrees to like take some of it to pay that mortgage that was looming over, right?
Right.
From what's his name? Solomon Isaacs, right?
Solomon, steal your stuff.
Yeah. But he makes the boys like sign a paper saying it's like, oh, we witnessed, Father Peter, coming into possession of this money,
right.
And he's gonna give it back with interest, once the owner is found.
Yeah,
right?
The remainder has been put in the bank, and he hopes that they'll make it up the 180 that he takes.
Yeah. So,
which sounds like a very smart way to do it. Actually.
Yeah, right.
Are we meant to read this and feel like he has still made a mistake, like a deal with the devil, or are we meant to think like, well, that is the most moral thing he's supposed to do, like that's the best thing he could have done?
I don't know, but like I want to talk about this specific. Doesn't this seem like a very American trope? I mean, this is all that money can buy. It's like,
right.
There's gold under your floorboards. Hey, it's like who's to say where it came from, but it's yours now.
Right. That's what I mean. Is he doing a Miser Stevens from that story and like taking it, and he should know better, and he's going to be punished for it? Or are we supposed to think like? Because to me, everything he just did sounds incredibly reasonable.
Yeah.
He got witnesses. He is not claiming that it's his and that he'll take it forever. He just needs it right now, and he couldn't find the owner. He tried to find them, and he'll pay them back.
I mean, what Jabez Stone does in Devil and Daniel Webster or All That Money Can Buy also seems completely reasonable. Like, and I think that's part of this trope is like, hey, there's no consequence to this. Like this money just showed up. Like, yeah, go ahead and use it. And I think that's the temptation aspect. And we're taking it further here because Father Peter doesn't know anything about Satan.
Right.
He literally just found this gold, and maybe the boys know, but. So there is the temptation aspect there. It's like, oh, this money was from Satan, maybe not the Satan, but a Satan. But Father Peter, he doesn't know Satan from Adam.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I think this man is blameless. So if young Satan comes after Father Peter here, I'll give him what's what. I tell you.
You'll give him a 1 and a 2 and a...
and a 6 and a 7.
But no, I did want to talk, like, this is not a trope that I see in medieval Austrian tales.
Right.
This is, in the same way that, like, American fantasies are all about, the hero going to the magical land and fixing it. This also seems to be a very American thing where the devil shows up and he stirs things up by setting up a temptation in a small town. Old Scratch in The Devil and Daniel Webster is like, hey, there's some Hessian gold, right?
Right.
Or like we go back even further. It's like The Devil and Tom Walker, right? The devil is guarding the treasure in the woods. And like, if I can just get a hold of that treasure. And that's the cause of, it's like the devil sets this as a trap for human greed to take its course.
Right.
And so it's not the devil kind of like, standing in a corner and rubbing his hands and being like, ooh, I'm gonna trick you into doing this. It's like him putting that gold there and being like, I'm just going to let you humans be humans.
Right.
Yeah. And I might be wrong about this. Like, I might have to, do some checking. But this seems like a recent American story trope.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to let you Americans be Americans. Here's some money in the middle of the ground. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, folks, that is the end of chapter 2. Keenan, I've read ahead, so I can't play this game. What do you think is going to happen here?
I don't know. I'm scared for the priest. These boys can. I'm fine.
Which you're talking about
them,
Father Peter?
Yeah, Father Peter. He's
who is one of
wrong.
The priests. The other one being Father Adolf.
Father Adolf. Yes.
But no, you're okay. So you're scared for Father Peter.
Father Peter, but yeah, these boys they should know better. Yeah. Come on, look at them. You're scared of them. Get out of there. But
hanging out with Satan. Yeah. But he's just so cool and he's got the riz, as they say.
Yeah, I like this version of Satan. He's very different, and as you said, very different even from the claymation version of him. It's not the same. So yeah, this is a really cool, different iteration of him.
Yeah, and this is why I wanted to do this second, right? Because I knew that if we did this and we got more into this character of nephew Satan, and then we watched the claymation, we'd be like, hey, this is they're doing it a disservice. But like, I'm glad we got to see that one first. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention, in this Satan's attempt to kind of like explain why he thinks so little of humans, he kind of lists, he takes like a woodlouse and he's like, what is this to Caesar, right? Like that to, like this to Caesar is what you got, like y'all are to me. But then he lists like, some of the faults of human beings. And he says, and this is going to show up again, he says, plus they have the moral sense, right? And he says it so disdainfully. And the way Twain writes it, the way our narrator talks about it, it seems like a known thing. It's like, I think we would call it something different now, like ethics or just morals or morality, right? But he says like young Satan says it in this way of like, ugh, disgusting. The humans have the moral sense, right? I want y'all to hold on to that and pay attention to it because he's going to bring it up again. He's going to always be disparaging humans of the moral sense. And at first you're like, well, like that's the thing. That's the thing that lets us know right from wrong. Like, why is that a bad thing? But the way Twain spins it through the speech of this Satan, it's actually really, really interesting. So let's keep an eye out for that. But for now, folks, this has been another episode of The Devil's Details. I've been Lester Ryan Clark. You can summon me on all the socials as Lester Ryan Clark.
And I've been Keenan Diaz, and you can invoke me on Instagram and Letterboxd as Howdy Keenan.
Yeah, find more of our shows and other really cool podcasts at truestory.fm, or you can drop us a message at Banana for Scale Mail, that's MAIL, @gmail.com. We got our Facebook listener group, Banana for Scale. That's a community for all of our shows, including this one. It's a private group, but just request to join, and we'll let you into the Infernal family. If you want more, consider joining us at truestory.fm/join, and look for Banana for Scale. That's us. You get bonus episodes of all our shows, access to our Discord, and you get your episodes a week early and ad-free. Pretty cool, just $5. Wouldst thou like to live deliciously? We're not even asking for your souls. Just give us a 5 pentagram rating on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you listen to our show. That and sharing the show by word of mouth or on social media is going to help our little podcast grow and find more cool people like you. All right, folks, until next time, love and hisses. Mwah.